Hello, everyone. Welcome.
Hey, Bob. You're muted.
Yeah, yes, I am.
And welcome, Sarah. You're feeling okay today?
Section, and forgive me if I forget anyone, but Kim DeMutzert, Bob Christian, and Sarah Grady have really spearheaded this effort, and several others have been involved. And I really want to appreciate them and their work in really pulling this together, and also Joe in his work to make this available and have this workshop available through WebEx. And I'll pass it off to Brett.
I don't know if Brett's there. He seems not to have unmuted.
I'm sorry.
Oh, he's there. He's there.
I'm here. No, just to echo Ben, I really want to thank, the people who have taken leadership on this StoryCorps project. It's a brilliant idea. And this is a great moment in the history of both our societies to be recording these oral histories, which are so important to be able to go back to and listen to and learn from. So just thanks for everyone for putting this together, and I will just pass it right back to Joe, and then let the people who are leading this effort take it from there.
Right. Okay, I'm joining on my second computer here so I can show a little PowerPoint I've been working on. So what the goals of this session are just to introduce you to an app that we can use to record interviews for AERS and NEERS. It's called StoryCorps, and it was Susan Adamowitz and Ben and Brett and I meeting in the hallway at the Mobile Convention Center that we decided we wanted to do something like this back in CERF 2019. So yeah, I want to become the presenter, and I'm cute over here. Can you still hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Okay. So I'm going to show my PowerPoint here. I'm going to share. And this is very quick, just a few slides, but basically how you're going to do a StoryCorps interview and put the interview in an archive. Now, none of this would work if we don't get the stories of the people in AERS and NEERS from the 50 years that we've been together. And of course, not everybody's going to have 50 years. In fact, in the chat box, how many people were at the meeting 50 years ago? Anybody? No? Okay. Well, yes, Ben was not there. So I'm assuming that all of us are, younger than that. And one of the first questions is, what was your first AERS meeting or NEERS meeting? And how did you meet the person you're interviewing, or what meeting did you meet them at? So that'll give us some kind of a history of where people came into the societies. And then the second question is often, well, what is your most memorable AERS or NEERS or CERF meeting, and some event about that. So the whole idea here is to elicit from the interviewee stories, StoryCorps, stories about our societies that are interesting to a broad audience. And ultimately, these will be archived and put into the Library of Congress. So there's going to be a need to edit some of this. We're going to collect raw sort of longer interviews and then edit it down to the interesting parts. So let's just walk you through this. It was actually Susan that was insistent that we do something like this for the 50th. She kept saying StoryCorps, StoryCorps, StoryCorps. And StoryCorps, if you've ever heard it on NPR, is a sort of oral history project. It's a, they broadcast the stories on NPR, but you can go to their archive and listen to anything that they have recorded. And I actually listened to one just recently when we had a visitor come here to Eastern North Carolina. People don't know this, but about 40 miles from where I sit today, in 1961, a B-52 Stratofortress at our local Air Force base, Seymour Johnson, was crashing, and it had 2 thermonuclear devices on board. And the pilots bailed, and they dropped the bombs on Eastern North Carolina, believe it or not. And they did not detonate. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today because it would have obliterated Greenville and the surrounding area. But one of those bombs is still in the ground near Goldsboro. Anyhow, on StoryCorps, there was an interview with the guy that was sent out in the middle of the night to do the bomb deactivation. And he didn't even know that it was nuclear devices. He was just an Air Force corpsman. And he recorded the StoryCorps interview. It's very interesting. You can Google it and listen to it. And by the way, that was not known that a bomb was dropped, 2 bombs, accidentally. They didn't go off. But it happened in 1961, and it wasn't revealed until 2013 under a Freedom of Information Act. So people just didn't even know about it. Well, anyhow, the important thing to note about StoryCorps is it's meant for radio. And, the StoryCorps group, they have a little Airstream trailer they bring to different events, festivals, and so on, and get people to come in and talk about their stories. They have an audio engineer, and they will edit it down to 2 or 3 minutes so it can be played on the radio. We were going to try for something like that, but that costs like $10,000 or $50,000, depends on how many people you want to bring in. So we decided not to do that, and also COVID, which was not going to allow us to do in-person interviews. So we then did some research and found that there is a new app called StoryCorps Connect, which allows us to stay socially distanced. It's a virtual interface. We'll kind of walk you through it here to record your story on audio. If you have a phone and you are brave or maybe vaccinated, 2 people who want to sit down together and do a StoryCorps interview, there is a StoryCorps phone app. I'm trying to bring it up. I downloaded it, and I did do one StoryCorps interview with somebody in person. You can see us there, Don Holbert. He's a statistician, and we were both vaccinated but wearing masks, and we went out for a beer after playing golf, and I was trying it out on him just to see how it works, and it works well. Then you get an audio recording, and then you can upload it to the StoryCorps community archives. Okay, and that's the process. You don't have to use StoryCorps phone app or StoryCorps Connect, but that I think is the easiest. But you can just use an audio recorder. Any kind of audio recorder would work, even a tape recorder, but then you'd have to digitize it, so there are more steps. I think the simplest thing is to use this StoryCorps Connect app. And I'll walk you through that today. I'm going to ask you all to, if you're interested in doing an interview, you need to find a partner to interview, and then we'll log you on or let you log on at your location, interview that person, and we'll take questions if you're running into problems. And you can start the interview and do another one if you want. It's not published until you kind of upload it to the StoryCorps community archives. And I believe there's 2, one for AERS and one for NEERS. And you have to join the archive community and be approved by the person who set the archive up. And that is me. And I think Sarah set one up for NEERS. Is that right, Sarah?
Yes, that's right. Yep.
Yep. So there's two separate archives, and we just don't want people uploading, from the public. So you have to actually request membership. Sarah will approve. I will approve. And then your story, once you've got it set and maybe edited, will be uploaded to the archive and will be stored in the Library of Congress Folk Life Center with all the other StoryCorps archives. Are questions about what we're doing here today? Okay. So more quickly, you should have gotten an email today from Ben if you're in AERS, and I don't know if it went to the NEERS people as well. Did it, Ben?
No, I just have the AERS list.
So Sarah,
I can get it to Brett, who can forward it.
Yeah,
Sarah,
forward it to me and I can send it to everybody.
I'll
yeah,
get it to Courtney.
Sarah has sent it out, but Ben did a nice little summary of what we're doing here today and some suggested questions to use. So when you get set up and you have your interviewee online and you're both ready to start the interview, these are just some example questions to kind of get the conversations started. How did we meet? What's a memorable event for you? Like with regard to AERS or CERF or NEERS? How was your mentor's advice? How has your mentor's advice helped you? What did your mentee bring to your life or teach you? When did you first attend an AERS meeting or NEERS? And what do you remember of it? What has changed in AERS or NEERS culture, meetings, or science? What do you recommend to newer AERSians to make the most of their experience? And so you would use those as sort of icebreakers to get the interview going. And in the StoryCorps Connect app, you can record for like 45 minutes. So you can cover a lot of ground. So this is just a screenshot of when you log in. StoryCorps.org is the URL. Participate, StoryCorps Connect. Okay, and you'll get a page that looks like this. And I'll show you here, there's a place where you have to log in. So the first thing you're going to have to do is create a StoryCorps account for yourself. Okay. And that's at the home there. You give a password and login ID. And then you go to StoryCorps Connect. And then you're going to have an interview. You need a partner to interview, right? So you're going to need to work with one other person, have their email handy, and make sure they're online, because StoryCorps Connect works just kind of like this WebEx. You have a live video feed going on. You can see one another when you're talking, but only the audio is recorded, okay, for the archive. And you end up after 45 minutes or however long, you hit save, and it stores it. And there's a whole bunch of things to fill out, like who were the interviewees, like who did you interview, what's their title. You can write a description, what kind of questions you asked or what you talked about. There's like little not hashtags but tags that you put in, like keywords, so people searching it could like find AERS or NEERS or estuaries or scientific societies, right? So that when they're searching this giant archive for ideas, they will come to us. So these are the two links. StoryCorps.org, participate, StoryCorps Connect, that's where you conduct the interview. But as Kim Demutzert, who's helping to organize this all, she's not here today, but she's helping to do this for the CERF meeting in the fall, because all of these are going to be edited down to some kind of an event recorded by us, but shown or played back at the fall CERF meeting. So you could become part of that as well, the presentation in the fall about the history of AERS and NEERS. So Kim recommends going to the archives, StoryCorps.org communities, and ours is the Atlantic Estuarine Research Society. The NEERS would be similar. Sarah will send out the link. And ask to join that AERS or NEERS community first. Click on that link above before you record your interview. That way you can store your interview in the AERS community. You'll be asked for archiving your interview if you would like to add it to the community. If you have already recorded an interview before joining the AERS community, you can still add the interview later by selecting Edit Interview. And likewise, if you've recorded something not using the app from StoryCorps, you can also upload it using Edit Interview there. All right. So how do we want to begin? I thought what we would do is let's see if you guys can see this. I may have to stop sharing my PowerPoint. And I think I'm going to actually do it on my other computer because I've got it all set up on this other one. So let me mute over here. And let's see if I've done this right. So I want to share now my web browser. Can you all see the StoryCorps archive for AERS? Give me a thumbs up. Yes. Okay. So if you click on that archive link, you will see the same thing: community type, community organization. Me, Kim DeMutzert, Trita are the 3 members right now, but we hope to have many more after today. And you can just click on that and it'll bring up the interviews that were done. And I may get rid of the one with Don Holbert because he's not actually in AERS. But what I thought I'd do is play you a little bit of what Ben and I talked about. And I will note that this has been edited down from 40 minutes. It was a 40-minute interview. And I just edited it this morning, actually, down to 5 minutes about just the memorable AERS events. So let's make sure that, give me a thumbs up if you're going to be able to hear this. Ben and I did a sound check, so I think this is going to work. But let me know if you can't. Actually, give me a thumbs down if you cannot hear it. How's that? Ready? The Atlantic Estuarine Research Society. I'm past president. He took over for me. He's been doing a great job. And I just wanted to ask Ben a few questions so we could record our interview for the records of AERS. And we're having a 50th meeting or 50th anniversary meeting with the New England Estuarine Research Society here in about a month. And, Ben will preside over that meeting along with the New England Society president. And it was 50 years ago that the 2 societies got together and formed CERF, which is the Coastal Estuarine Research Federation, which now has 7 affiliate societies. So this is a historic event. And we're going to try to collect these interviews in the celebration of that 50th anniversary. So here's some questions that we sort of want to pose everybody from AERS and NEERS and CERF. So we get 2 people together and I'm supposed to ask, how did...
It must have been an AERS meeting. I mean, it's possible it was a CERF meeting, but I feel like it was AERS because, God, I don't know when that would have been though. That would have been before the one at Stockton, because I remember you had a great costume for that one because it fell on Halloween, and we did a
Halloween costume party. Yeah, I have a blue wig on with a big one, crazy hat. You were dressed as an M&M, as I recall.
Yes. Yes. So that, but I don't think that was when we met. And I think that was 2014. So
I think we may have met at a CERF meeting.
It's possible. I mean, that's entirely possible.
It may have been in Providence, Rhode Island, is what I remember.
Well, that would make sense. That would have been in 2007. That would have been my first CERF meeting.
Yeah.
That would have been that would actually even have been before my first AERS meeting, because my first AERS meeting was the following spring in the spring of 2008.
So I think that's when we met. But we could look back in the records and try to confirm that. So what was your most memorable AERS or CERF meeting? Like you mentioned the Halloween one in Stockton University. But what was a memorable event for you at an AERS meeting?
Well, there have been a lot. The Greek dance party, and there's this iconic photo of you and me and a couple of the people who were spelling AERS.
That's good. I remember that. That was up at Catonsville, right?
Yeah, I think that's right. That was, because I had arranged a local DJ. He was my neighbor, actually.
He was good. I liked him.
Yeah.
He had as, he stopped the music and we were supposed to all hold the pose, and I don't know, they were doing this thing where you were live streamed or somehow videoed in the position that you stopped in during the music when it was playing, and you were dancing in whatever position you were in, and then he did a kind of tableau of the dance floor, but walking through it, kind of like stop action. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was very cool. And then there was the one that you hosted down in North Carolina at the Coastal Sciences Institute, right?
Right, Coastal Studies Institute, right.
Coastal Studies Institute. And I remember that one pretty well also. I remember there was a point at which there was a pie throwing on that. I don't know how that originated. I can't remember exactly.
It's like people were out to raise money with me as the victim. So the idea was, if they said, well, who could we hit a pie with that would generate the most cash? It was, everybody agreed. It was Luskovich. And so they went around at the meeting, said, would you give $10 or $5 to see Joe get hit in the face with a pie? And then they, collected a bunch of money for student, support.
Oh yeah,
to go to the next meeting. And I got hit in the face with the pie, and it was, everybody laughed and thought it was funny.
That was great. Yeah, you took that very, very well. I remember you being a very, very good sport about that. You got your raincoat on.
Oh yeah. There's photos. We could drag up the photos of that. Well, all right. So, that's a 5-minute snippet of the longer interview. There's an advantage to having the whole interview up there. I think some people maybe within our societies would like to listen to all of it, but I, sometimes think maybe we need to focus a little bit and think like we're on radio and you only put up highlights for the archive. So I think that's kind of up to you. Again, there will be a cutoff at 45 minutes on the StoryCorps Connect app. So it'll give you a warning when you're getting close to that and you need to start wrapping it up. But I think Kim has asked that everybody consider editing down, maybe make a short version and a long, have a long version. So you could do both. Does anybody have any comments or questions about that, what we're after? Sarah, do you want to say anything? Because I know you've recorded some as well already.
Yeah, so, because this process kind of got going on my end before the StoryCorps app was being used, what ended up happening from our side of things is that our 3 interviews that are up there right now were just recorded using, one of them was just the audio from a Zoom call. Another one was, from your notes app on your phone. We do definitely prefer that people use the StoryCorps app because it just is integrated really, really well into getting the stories up there. If you happen to spontaneously be somewhere with somebody and you don't have the app and you want to, just talk to someone you won't have a chance to talk to, it is possible to just record it in a different way and we can upload it. But we definitely prefer the use of the app. Our questions were a little bit more focused on the mentorship aspect and less on the meeting aspect, at least the ones that I had sent out to NEERS initially. So, the most important thing about it is really, the thing that people enjoy most is that relationship aspect of everybody talking to each other and remembering things. What I found really helpful, just sort of in terms of the way the conversation goes, is if someone starts out talking about something that they remember, and then that kind of triggers the other person to respond, and then that person then can talk about something that they remember, and vice versa. And that seems to kind of keep that flow going pretty well. So, I'm really looking forward to hearing some more interviews coming out of NEERS and listening to the AERS ones as well. And I hope that you can, get some up there. It's been, I've learned some amazing things just listening to a couple of the interviews. So, share your fun experiences and things that nobody else knows, like Ben was saying in the chat.
Yeah, and I saw a question come up from Courtney about a list of questions. At the very beginning of this, I went through a PowerPoint with some suggested questions, and as Sarah mentioned, some of them are about your mentor. A lot of people are sort of picking their mentor to interview or one of their students to interview, and talk about the relationship that developed during the time they were doing research on estuaries. So I think that I didn't include that in the one I did with Ben because I was just trying to show an example. But in our 40-minute longer interview, there is stuff about his students that he mentored and mine and what we got out of that. And so I encourage you to do what Sarah's talking about. Talk about science, talk about relationships with other people. This is what others find interesting. Yeah, you can do at the very beginning, I'm the president, or I'm, held the position of treasurer, blah, 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 blah. And that's like a resume kind of thing. You could put that in the description box. You don't really need to do that at the very beginning of the interview. At the beginning of the interview, I would just state your name clearly, your current title, and your relationship to AERS or NEERS, and then get into the interesting stuff because people can read your resume in the description box. Any other questions? I'd like to show you next how to do StoryCorps Connect. Yeah, Susan had a question. It went flashing by so quick, I didn't see it.
No, it was just a comment. My original hope on this is that, 50 years is a long time for our organizations, as small and informal as we are. And it'd be great if we could capture some of the oral histories of our older members before they passed from among us, whether or not they were your mentor. I mean, I would encourage folks to seek out some of these people. Maybe they were a past president. That would be cool. Maybe they weren't. Maybe they were just always show up to the meetings and they were that person. And I think it becomes sort of a natural give and take when you do these intergenerational conversations and people talk about how it used to be in their day and now what the experience is. The Graduate School of Oceanography at URI has really evolved since some of our early NEERS members either studied there or taught there. That's
I think that's a good point. And we are losing folks. They're retiring or passing on. And the history is being lost, although, we have pretty good historians, and especially NEERS has a really great history part of their website. I find the newer members don't even know the history of AERS. They don't look at it. on the history on the websites. They don't know that they're 50. A lot of them are surprised that 50 years ago, the two organizations had a joint meeting that gave rise to CERF originally. They don't know any of that. They are completely unaware. A lot of them, I think, don't even know that CERF is a group of affiliates that got together and formed a federation. They think of them as separate organizations that aren't really related. And so a lot of people go to the CERF meeting from the AERS region, but aren't members of AERS. And I'm sure the same is true in NEERS. And we're trying to recruit them into AERS and make sure that they go to both, but they're not aware of this long history. We have something called the Venerable Clam. I wasn't there when it first initiated by a guy named Don Fear, but he apparently, Don Lear, excuse me, he gave a clamshell to the person who was the oldest member or venerable member of the society, and then they wrote their name on it in pen. And they did this every meeting, and the person who was chosen had to wear the clamshell around their neck for the whole meeting. Now, that's got to be a big deal in AERS, and people think of it as like sort of the honorary membership, but we have a separate honorary membership award that goes to the member who's done great service to science and AERS, and that is sort of a lifetime achievement award, and it's a separate award, but people confuse those two. The younger members don't really appreciate some of the history of what happened in these organizations, and we're trying to capture that. That's Susan's right. Who wants to say something? I'll interview 81-year-old Sheldon Pratt. Okay, who said that? Veronica? Great. Yeah, if you know of people that aren't really currently in the society, maybe they've retired, but still have some interesting stories, those are great people to get involved. Now, they may be difficult if they're I don't know how digitally aware they may be to be able to do a StoryCorps Connect. They're going to show you how to do that in just a second. They have to have a computer and a camera at their end. So I don't know, maybe one of their grandkids or something could help set that up, but it would be a challenge, I think, to get the really, like, if I was trying to do this with my mother, who's 89, 88, I would have to have my brother in New Jersey set up a computer for her to be able to do the interview because she couldn't do it on her own. So I just don't know how old we can get our members to participate in StoryCorps Connect. All right, who else has something to say? Yes, Susan wrote, we could also have chats about diversity. Then, now, in the future, you were the only woman in different agency meetings, and certainly we have seen a great change in the diversity of our societies. There's lots more females. In fact, I did a count there when I was president of AERS, and it's majority female in AERS. Which wasn't the case in the early days. As you say, it was a challenge. So what about those challenges that women have faced in science, in estuarine science? Try to get a question or two in about that when you're interviewing somebody like Susan or Veronica or Sarah or any and younger women. We want to hear your experiences as well. Okay. Any other comments? You're chatting away. I'll read the chat box, but I'm going to focus my attention, unless somebody has something else they want to bring forward, to using StoryCorps Connect. And I think you see it on your screens. Yeah. So this is the live StoryCorps Connect. And I'm going to, click on that little record your story using StoryCorps Connect icon here in a second. But here are useful guides just before we get into this for getting started, troubleshooting, getting started, good questions, conversation tips, and recording recommendations. So I recommend you look at those. There's a PDF toolkit for teachers and editors. Download this toolkit. multimedia resources and lessons to support young people as they learn to interview, record. Basically, you're going to become an NPR reporter, and you're going to need to interview somebody. So who wants to be interviewed by me? I need your email address, and then we need to get you, and I don't know that it's going to work here because I might have to turn off my camera. Let me stop my camera. Okay, who can I invite via email? How about Bob Christian? Bob, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Can I interview you just as an example?
Yes, you may.
Because I happen to know your email. So I'm sending you an email invitation. So this is how it begins. Sent to you. So now you have to go to your email, and I would turn off your camera as well, Bob.
It's already turned off.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how this is going to work here. So I invited you, and note that they're going to preserve the audio of the conversation, but they're going to use your camera to take a screenshot of the video stream to be archived. Video will be recorded temporarily to accomplish this. And it has some great questions. So to share the link below with the person you'd like to interview, you should be able to see it in your screen, but I'll put it in the chat box. I'll put it in the chat box.
Joe, I'm going to join the interview now.
Oh, all right.
Okay. I think you were talking about old people not being digitally savvy. Well, I'm one of them. So
yeah. But I see you now. All right, I turned off my speaker, so I don't think we have the echo anymore. Can you hear me, Bob?
Yes, I do.
I definitely see you.
Yes, I don't see you.
You don't see me. Yeah. Let me see how I can fix that. I'm going to get out of this one. How am I going to do this?
See how easy it is, folks?
I'm going to totally get out of this WebEx from this computer. I'm still on my other computer, but that way I can conduct an interview with Bob, and then we'll do it really briefly. And I think I'll get my camera and audio back so he can hear me. So hold on. Can you see me now?
Excellent, Joe. Excellent.
Can you all hear me now? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, you're probably not able to see the screen, but if you can see, Bob's on my other monitor, and I'm going to conduct a really brief interview with him just to show you what's going on. It's a little bit challenging trying to do a WebEx and the StoryCorps Connect. So, Bob, I cannot hear you for some reason.
Wait, let me see. Now
I'll tell you what. Get out of the WebEx meeting. Just drop out of it. You can always log back in. in a little bit, but get out completely and then hit the refresh button on your browser, and I think your audio will come in. Once we get audio established, then I will start recording. Yeah, this is called OK Boomers Do an Interview Live. It will be a challenge. If it wasn't for COVID, we could just have people sit down in the room and interview each other with their phones. I'm recording you, but I don't hear any audio. Oh, maybe I have. We're good. I had my speakers turned off. It's this boomer. I didn't do it right.
So the first lesson is you have to be under 60 in order to do this.
Or not multitasking, you know, trying to do two things at once, but we're established. So we've got StoryCorps Connect. I see Bob, he sees me. I'm in a little window on my view too, so I can see myself. And now we can start asking some of the questions. So Bob, when did we first meet?
Actually, I don't think it was through AERS or NEERS or anything. It was through ECU. When you became a faculty member here.
Right.
And that was, late 80s, early 90s?
1990, yeah.
Okay.
And there was a guy that worked in your lab who you may remember, Bill Rizzo.
Right.
Yeah, Bill and I used to carpool from neighboring city, Wilson, every day, and he was in your lab, so I'd have to come over to your lab to pick him up and take us back home.
Okay.
And I think that's how we first connected. And then he would tell me about what he was doing with you. And then ultimately we ended up collaborating on a web network model in St. Mark's, and the rest is history. But yeah, you were one of the more senior faculty members at the time at ECU, and I was like a postdoc basically. So, and I thought I would stay at ECU just 1 year, and I ended up 30 years here. So I blame you in part for that, because it was a good place to work. And you were part of that. So what's a memorable AERS meeting for you that you can, it doesn't have to be one I was at, just.
Well, I suppose one memorable one was the very first one, which was in 1978 in Edgewater Park, Maryland. I was first time I'd been to an AERS meeting, very informal. The president at the time was somebody I had known, John Sawyer, and during the meeting, I was actually asked to be chair of the Constitution Committee, and I thought I was moving up upscale, you know, with all that responsibility thrown on me by being a new AERS member. And I found out that every new AERS member gets given a responsibility as people come in.
So is that was the old practice, that every member was made a member of a committee?
It was simply that I think, you know, it's fresh blood, and the idea that you could get somebody to do some work for the society as they came in. They looked like they would be willing to do some extra work for the society. But again, I think I heard recently about the tale that when you came, you brought your 35 millimeter slides with you, and those people who weren't selected to be able to give a presentation could still bring their slides, and if somebody was not there, they would just sort of, they had a secondary list of people who could just jump in and give their presentation along the way. some of the presentations were actually done with flip charts and very, very informal and very enjoyable. It was the kind of organization you say, gee, I want to be a part of this, and started bringing students to it.
Yeah, I mean, AERS was, and John is the one that mentioned this at our spring meeting a year ago, that, you know, he misses the old style AERS meetings where it was informal. And people, I think Roberto Alonso told me one time he didn't know if he was speaking when he got to the meeting, but he was prepared. And they pulled names out of a hat and he got selected, so he got to talk. I mean, everything is so scripted now. I mean, at our meetings, in fact, people do narrated PowerPoints, so you almost don't have to be there. Film a video in advance and just let it play. Things have really changed from 35mm slides and flip charts and overhead projection sheets and have your name pulled out of a hat. Jim Forkorian, who's the president of CERF, has asked me to serve as a lead, and I haven't done very much on this, about what to do in off years with CERF meetings. He's concerned that we're losing revenue in the even years, and he wants to have some CERF event in the even years. And one of the things that's been suggested is we do an old school kind of AERS meeting where people just show up, and you know, if you're selected, you have to extemporaneously talk about a topic. Maybe it's, you know, you have a theme, but you're gonna be selected to talk about that topic with your vast knowledge of estuarine ecology, and it won't necessarily be a pre-programmed talk, because after all, the talks, even the lightning talks, are very, very scripted, and it's great for communication of their ideas, but it doesn't allow for a lot of brainstorming. I think that's what John was after. The old AERS meeting was a brainstorming session.
Yeah, that's two other features of that. One is the press was prohibited from coming to these meetings. And actually, I think it may have been in the Constitution at the time. And secondly, the idea was to use your time to give presentations about research that was ongoing, that was just maybe in the incubation stage, and just trying to bounce ideas around, and not the completed project kind of presentation that so many of them are now.
Exactly.
That's bad. It's different.
Yeah. All right. I don't want to bore people with more memories, but you know, I want to thank you for being my mentor. I learned a lot working with you, and I hope you enjoyed it. It was great to have you as a colleague in our department, and as a former Venerable Clam and president of AERS, Bob Christian. You've been very helpful. So I'm going to stop the interview here just so we can get back to the workshop. Is that okay? We can always do another one. All right. So then you hit, so you see we're at 32 minutes to go. So I've used about 8 minutes to record that interview. Now it says save interview to archive, which I will do. And that's it. Questions?
That was great. It was really
Are you
great.
still there?
This is Sarah. Can you hear me? Yeah, that was great. I thought
Thank you.
It was great.
I
to
hope
see.
you all saw that.
It was a good example because, you know, you can see how the
I'm
conversation
not
ebbs and
hearing
flows.
anybody. Everybody's muted. I'm going to unmute all
No, don't do that, Joe, because we get the tremendous echo.
so you can talk.
No, I'm talking. You can't hear me? Joe.
Who has a comment?
Joe,
You know, at
Sarah's
this point,
saying-
oh, you didn't see it, but you could hear it. Okay.
No.
We can't hear Sarah.
I'm talking right now.
Right. Well, I guess I forgot to turn my camera on, and I was trying to point my computer at the screen, the other computer where we were interviewing Bob. But he could see me, I could see him, we could hear one another, and I hope you heard the interview. Remember that audio is all that gets saved. You're looking at each other in a live video feed, and at some point it takes a screenshot of your head, which gets added to the interview page on StoryCorps, so you see each other only during the interview, but the video is not recorded. Anybody can ask a question. Joe, can I mute everybody? Yeah. We're getting echoes. Okay, I'm going to mute all. I am allowing you to unmute yourself.
So do we think that people might want to have this time now to try it out?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
This is a workshop. So now's the time for you to do your work. And I would recommend you find a partner. You maybe use the chat box to say, hey, an individual person you want to interview. Can I interview you? Give me your email, and then go to the StoryCorps Connect app. I'll put it in the chat box here so that you have it. But go to these two links, get the person online, get out of this meeting with WebEx because it just complicates things, because you need the camera and the audio to do the interview. Then we'll keep the meeting open. You can try it and then come back. It's 11 o'clock, and I figured that would be all we would get done in the introduction to the workshop. At the next hour, why don't you try to conduct an interview and save it to an archive? And if you have any questions, come back in and we will try to help those who are having problems. Remembering that there are boomers involved, it could be more than an hour we need, so we can continue this later in the week in regular sessions. So those two links I posted in the chat room are what you want to do. First, you want to, sign up for your archive in AERS. Sarah, can you post the link for the NEERS archive?
Yeah, I did. I'll do it again.
Okay, in the chat box. So if you're AERS, go to the AERS archive. If you're NEERS, go to the NEERS archive. You're going to have to log in.
I'm approving people as we speak too. So
excellent. I'll do the same here. And then
Joe, can you approve me as well? I've made a new request.
Yeah, and I have done that multiple times, Ben, and maybe something about you they doesn't like.
I just like not allowed in.
I don't know what it is. It says, approve membership pending, and I keep approving you, and I don't know why.
Really not trustworthy enough.
Maybe let me try it one more time.
I think you have to refresh your page for the person who's being approved. That just happened to me.
There we go. Yep.
Thanks, Sarah.
Members. See, it says pending member for you, Ben.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Try reloading your pages. Like
I just did. I also logged out and logged back in.
I keep clicking on you and it keeps saying pending member. Promote to moderator. I can promote you to moderator now.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I have been approved.
Yay. Okay. So if you go ahead and try to join the archive,
there we go.
I will approve, and maybe Ben can now approve.
I'm in.
You're in. All right.
I'm in.
All right. And
Thank
then
you.
join your organization's archive.
So to ask, so you need to set up an account
Yep.
on StoryCorps.org.
Right.
And then you go to, like on the top navigation bar, communities is one of those links. And then there's a search bar, and you can search for Atlantic Estuarine Research Society or whatever it is that the NEERS is on there. And then once you find that community, there is a button that says ask to join.
I'm going to go take a bathroom break. You carry on.
Sue, Brett, and Courtney, how do any of you feel about being promoted to a moderator? Okay.
Wait, you mean for?
For the community.
Oh,
Yeah, make
yeah,
a
that's
story
fine.
make a
Storycorps.
bunch of us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that way we can approve, so it gets
It gets
Someone-
shared.
That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. See, now I'm all excited to do this, but the people that I gotta get in touch with the people I want to do it with.
Yeah.
So when you
that's fine.
actually go to click on record, there is a link that it generates, and there's a box, so you can copy that link and email it, or there's a box where you can just enter in an email itself and click the button to say invite via email. And then once that email will have a link to the same website, and then they will show up, and you will actually see, there's like a picture within a picture, and you'll see them and yourself. And there's a button that says start recording audio.
Can whoever said that just type that into the chat?
Sure.
Thanks.
By the way, nice hat, Courtney.
Wait a minute, Courtney.
Oh. That's how we label our presidents and NEERS.
I don't, yeah. I saw you had your shirt on too, Brett. You're fully repping today.
Yeah.
It's in.
Oh, do you have your shirt on under your sweat?
Spying NEERS or AERS or CERF swag is in the scavenger hunt.
Oh boy. I have to say, I do really like my AERS shirt that I got when I went down to their meeting. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's a good shirt.
It's really, I like
there
the
we
color
go.
scheme.
We make good swag.
Sir.
When
Hey,
I had my very strange visit to Delaware for a very short amount of time.
Hi, I'm in Delaware.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was like a total whirlwind. The whirlwind of Delaware.
I have an awesome CERS shirt that I picked up, I think, at the last CERF meeting. They did one. The front is like the CERS logo, but on the back is the individual state. So I picked one up from Florida.
Oh, that's kind
Cool.
of fun. Like a
Yeah, I
repping
thought
your
that was kind
state.
of neat. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
That would be a pain to print, to know how many you'd want to print and stuff.
Yeah.
I have an Access one that has the Celtic knot on the front. That's pretty cool.
Fun.
That's nice.
Brett, I think you could do a group interview. You just have to get in. It looks like you can only do 2 cameras, but if you could be in person, or you, Jamie, and like you and Allison could be in one spot, or you, Jamie, and Allison can be in one spot, and then talking to Jim via computer.
Yeah, that would be kind of fun.
That would be.
Jim did a great interview with Caitlin Shaw interviewed Jim. And they
Nice.
have
But
a
she did
really,
already?
well, no. I think you should totally, people can be in multiple interviews, I think.
Hmm.
But yeah.
Caitlin Shaw interviewed Jim Kramer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We have lots of Jims. We just have to make sure we're all talking about the same one.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm talking about Jim. That's with Jim Kramer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great. Yeah, I'm glad to see some of these people are already up there. Because I was thinking
Yeah, I
about.
have no. I'm on the webpage for NEERS and I don't see any interviews.
It's in there. Yeah.
Really?
So I
Yeah.
do, if you, somehow I got there and I just scroll down and then there are three interviews posted.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, and I don't know how I got here. Because previously it had said interviews 0.
Oh, wait, I see 3 pending interviews.
3 pending, yeah, there
You
you
can
go.
listen to them though.
Got it. Cool beans.
Where do you see that? Because I'm not seeing that on the community page.
On the interviews, and it says sort by.
Yeah.
Initially, it said all and featured. And so I clicked featured. And then when I went back, pending appeared. So then I clicked on pending.
Yeah, so that's the other thing for people to know is there is kind of a delay. Like you have to, because it processes. And I uploaded one of these 2 days ago and 2 of them yesterday because I was messing around with it. And they're still pending. They said it could be 72 hours.
So Sarah, I got a question. So I was trying to sign up so that then I could approve. So I went to the main StoryCorps website and it said, I clicked on participate and then clicked on take one small step to record. Am I doing the right thing?
Hang on, you went to regular StoryCorps.
Right.
Okay.
And then it said
Participate. I'm just following what you said you did.
Way to the right, it says first step or something like that.
If you're on there and you scroll down, there's a thing that says not able to get to a recording site.
Okay, let me try that.
It's on that participate page.
Okay, so I'm on the participate page. Oh, keep scrolling down.
So it's between the little cartoon of like the people hugging and the select a recording location.
Oh, hey, okay. So it says not able to get to a recording site, use the StoryCorps app or StoryCorps Connect.
Yes, right.
So which one do I click on?
So if you need to download the app, you can download the app on StoryCorps. You could do that way, but StoryCorps Connect, you can also do it just through your web browser.
Okay.
Yeah, I think StoryCorps Connect is what you want because it keeps you socially distant from the interviewee. The StoryCorps app is what you want when you're doing it on a phone, for example, when you're sitting in the room with somebody or on the computer.
Okay, so
in the same room. We don't want to use that. I mean, at some point we'll be out of quarantine and lockdown. We could use that. But right now, StoryCorps Connect.
Rhode Island's looking at like this summer, I might be out of quarantine. So.
I'm in the office.
okay. Now, Sarah, how do I get to the thing to ask you to approve me?
All right, so then what you want to do is
So I'm in StoryCorps Connect.
you're on StoryCorps Connect, right? So now you're going to want to, let me find where it is on this page. StoryCorps Connect. All right. Where is this on this page? All right, so if you hit where it says record your, oh wait, hang on. Hang on a second. because you want to get to the community, which you're gonna, probably the best way to do that is just to go to archive.storycorps.org.
Is this in the StoryCorps Connect website?
You can, it's easiest just to go directly to the link. There isn't a link from the StoryCorps Connect. There's two steps of things. There's joining the community, and then there's making the recording. So StoryCorps Connect is making the recording.
Okay.
So you're gonna want to go to, I'll type it in here. I'll send you right to the community, actually. Hang on. Right, let's see. Here we are. There you go.
And I think we have a pending, Sarah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so now I'm in the NEERS community,
Yep,
and how do I ask to be approved? Do I
you
need
want to join the community.
Let's see, I don't see join. I see, you mean log in? It says you can
Yeah.
log in.
Yes, so
Yeah.
so log in and you'll have to create an account,
Okay, I see. Get started.
and then you can come back to our NEERS community and you can ask to join.
Okay.
So real quick before I have to jump off and do some other stuff. So this was a t-shirt. It says NEERS on the front. And then the back is all fake
Wow.
photos.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I don't know how you figure out how many to print of each state, but I thought it was super cool since I really was only a Sears member when I was in Florida. So
That's, we know from our statistics, sort of what proportion of shirts to print though.
we do. We can
A
manage
lot
that.
of Rhode Island and Massachusetts and Maine. Maybe slightly less New Hampshire.
Hey, are we going to ask the Sears people to do the same thing with StoryCorps, Bob? See, are all of the different affiliates doing something like that?
I think it's just us two right now.
Right now, but as we get closer to CERF is going to make this big push.
Okay.
Because Susan said if she could, she was going to try and hop on to kind of see what this is all about, to see how they can make this a bigger thing come the fall. But yeah.
So, well, I'm recording this. This is what this workshop's being recorded. So even if she can't make it, you can share it with her.
All right, now that sounds great because she was super interested. And then, yeah, for NEERS swag, maybe Brett, now that we're taking over New York, we can get some good New York shirts printed up. All right. I have to run to other stuff before 12:30. So 12:15. So I'll see you all later.
Yep. Sarah, could you do me a favor? Could you possibly share your screen
Sure.
and show us how to sit through to do an interview?
Sure.
Okay.
Sarah, can I ask you a quick question before you get into that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I signed up, I made my account. Now I'm back to the NEERS community page.
Yeah.
How do I ask you to
Is
approve?
there should be a join community button, I think, right? Is that, I haven't, I mean, I did it so long ago. I don't, I made the community. I
Yeah.
don't have the button
I just-
anymore.
I just did it today. So if you are
That's the thing that's join.
community/NEERS,
Yep.
okay. And then to the right of our logo, there should be a little faded button that says join.
Oh, maybe, well, no, but it says more. Maybe that? No.
But underneath that, there should be
Do you want to share your screen?
me. Yeah.
No, Veronica.
Let's see if I'm not sure how to do this from,
Veronica, can you share your screen?
let's see. Oops. Let me try. Oops.
By the way, Sarah, I approved Jason's request
Yeah,
to join the
good.
group, so I figured out how to
Okay.
do that.
Sorry, wrong thing. Oops.
Okay. You have to select the monitor with the
Right.
record.
Excuse me.
Here we go.
Here
Okay.
we-
So that's what I'm
Okay.
seeing.
All right. That is what you're saying.
Huh.
Doesn't say anything
What
about,
if you,
That's because she's not
What if
logged
you-
in.
Oh, you're not logged in.
oh,
here we go.
but, okay.
Right, now go to the community. You can search for it. Just, go to communities at the
It's-
top.
Right here?
Or
Near?
go to,
No.
I would go to communities at the top.
In the red banner at the top. Yep.
And then
that's-
search for NEERS.
Sorry, Sarah. Go ahead.
Oh, it's all right. Yep, and then search, and it should pop right up. There it is. Join. There you go. You can join right there.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you so much.
And we'll approve
Yep.
you.
Yeah, I'm excited you'll be doing Sheldon. That's great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was at the meeting, not the one at Salem State, but he was the one at UNH. So the
Great.
first, yeah. I don't know who else was there, but so I
Are
just
you seeing her, Sarah?
I'm not yet. No. Looks like she hasn't pressed the button yet.
but I have. I pressed it twice.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see then. Hang on. Show all members. Hang on. Let me reload. That seems to be the trend here.
Yeah, so Veronica, if you click on visit NEERS,
There she is. Yeah.
Okay.
right?
She's
Click on the
accepted.
visit. All right, click on the visit tab. And that should take you to our page, and now you're a member. Okay. All right,
Okay.
now
Oh,
if you stop sharing
right.
so that Sarah can share her screen.
Okay.
Well, thanks
So
for
we can
walking me
figure out-
through.
Yep. It's way to go.
All right.
Go
All
for
right.
it, Sarah.
All right. So I'm on our page right now. I'm going to go to StoryCorps.org and click on participate. Scroll down and click on StoryCorps Connect right here. And then this will allow you to just do it right through your web browser. Record your story. And then you send the other person this link. And it won't let me use my hardware because I'm on this meeting right now. But then you are both there. You hit start and you have your interview.
So this page where it's got invite via email, that's the same thing that Joe was showing.
Yep. Yep.
And so you obviously you have to wait till the person emails you back to be able to.
Yeah, I mean, I would, arrange it ahead of time.
Use the phone. There's a thing called a phone. You can call them
Yeah.
and say, I just sent you an email. Let's get online and do an interview.
Yeah.
You remember the phone? When it was used as a phone?
So what you might want to do is like they sort of says, email ahead of time, figure out a time,
Or
and then
call them.
send this
Yeah.
right at the time that you want to do the interview.
Yeah, you can set it up just like any kind of a meeting. You say, let's meet
Yeah.
at 10 a.m. and here's the link.
Yeah.
You know, the advantage of this, as opposed to meeting in person, never mind the COVID stuff, but well, I feel you can talk to anybody anywhere, you know, like talking to Jim Kramer in California. That's just wonderful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, right. So I had done an email. I had done an interview with Kathy Wygand that only one side of it got recorded because of the way we did it. So right now
no.
I'm going to invite Kathy. And we're going to do it again. So not right now,
Yeah.
but eventually. So I have to get her email correctly.
So while you guys were working, and that's great that you're learning. Thank you, Sarah, for helping walk us. I figured out how to add a set of standard questions to your community. I don't know if you want to do this for you guys.
Yeah,
Sarah.
I was going to paste that in. I just haven't done it yet.
You have to go.
I'm going to stop sharing here.
Go to your profile if you're the moderator of the community, and you have to say create a question list. It's like you have interviews and profile, edit profile, uploaded an existing interview, record with StoryCorps Connect, create a community. You don't need to do that, but create a question list. Click on that, and then you can add questions. I just chose the ones that got sent out today in the PowerPoint, and then save it to the community. And now when people get into the community, those are the standard questions that everybody can ask or should ask.
I'm putting those in there.
And Bob, I just welcomed you as a member, so
Thank you.
I think soon our interview will show up. It's not there yet.
Can I ask a question? Oh, Susan, you look like you were about ready to say something.
Yeah, and then I got a dash. So thanks. Sarah and Monica and Brett, I think it'd be really great if we could do our best interview past presidents.
Yeah.
And, you know, but also encourage all these other interviews. But if we could kind of go down that list and get as many past presidents as possible. And if we, you know, have a past president interview a past president, then we can kind of knock two out at the same time.
So Sue, why don't you just get the list of past presidents, send it around to president, and then we can just volunteer for people.
Okay.
And that's good because, of course, you know, we've already lost several past presidents. So
I know right. That's why I think it's so important to kind of capture them in this moment.
You know, they're not getting any younger.
Oh,
Jeff.
I have a question, and that is, and unfortunately, we're down to the final 6 and maybe 5 if Susan has to go. But I'm sort of trying to represent CERF on how we do StoryCorps, and you know we want to use lessons learned from this. One thing I thought about as I'm listening to all of this, especially Susan's last question and Veronica's answer, is, you know, should we identify interviewers and sort of set up the interviewers early on in the game and get a lot of this information out there before it even begins? Or what other suggestions basically do you have to make this a smoother and process for CERF?
I think one thing will be a very clear set of instructions step by step on just like how to use this interface, like because this has been a super useful workshop, and even just like walking through it step by step with Veronica just now, like I was paying attention just to make sure, you know. So that's one, right? I think people are really going to need some help, and even maybe a short a short recorded clip of someone like going through the clicks like we just did with Veronica, if you could record that, it's so much better than just written instructions where you can't see it happening. And I don't think that would be that hard to do, right? Because you could just simply record that and post it. But I also like, you know, what Sue just suggested about interviewing presidents, like that's like all kinds of triggers go off. Like, yeah, okay, so we need to actually, like Veronica said, get a list together, get in touch with everyone, and we really want to do a StoryCorps interview, and try to identify those. You know, I think you have to have it both like an open, you know, anyone who wants to do it can do it, but I also think like targeted will help get responses.
And also, this was really useful having this workshop today, because I know Sarah's been sending stuff about StoryCorps for months, and I've been sort of ignoring it because I was like, I don't know how I go into this, but now I feel better about it, you know, and now I'm going to be a StoryCorps advocate, you know. So I think if, you know, so the affiliates have had this, but I think if CERF, you know, maybe part of their webinar series had one of these, at least so that people would see that it's really not that daunting of a task to do.
In fact, Kim DeMussert, who is also involved with this, her role is as the chair of the workshop committee. So she's actually looking to have one of the workshops be devoted to this.
Oh, perfect.
But to have a webinar may also be an excellent way to do it. And we get Sarah to do that.
Sure. I'll do that.
Sarah and Joe.
Yeah, no, that would be really helpful, because it's sort of, you hear about it, you know, it's a good program and all, but it's, you know, you got a link and you're just like, oh, I don't know where I go from here. So.
Well, and honestly, it took some iterations to kind of refine the process for everybody too. It was kind of a little cart before the horse in some ways. So,
also, there's something that I didn't really realize before, but now I know that, you know, that Sarah has set up a NEERS page archive and Joe has set up an AERS archive. So, because I thought, well, you do stories and they just sort of go off into anywhere, but now I understand. I mean, Sarah probably emailed about that. I said I just sort of ignored it because I was overwhelmed.
Do you know whether an AERS, the AERS and the NEERS communities can be merged into, can be separated, but also have a cross link? And I'm thinking of a SERF community that includes, as SERF does, AERS, NEERS, and all the others, access, etc.
I think you can have an interview in more than one community.
Okay.
So I think if you, I'm doing questions. So let me just finish doing this and then I will check that out.
Okay.